Avoid this absolutely catastrophic mistake that people make when they're thinking about buying versus renting. This could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I simply want you to consider this, right? I'm going to go over the math behind it. It's not everyone's perfect time to buy. It may be, in your scenario, a better case to rent. But when you do the rent versus buy calculation, don't do what most people do. $2,800 rent in a house that you like, in the neighborhood that you like. And you want to buy something in that neighborhood, and you get the bad news from a mortgage broker, whoever you speak to, that $3,200 a month is going to be the mortgage payment on that very same house. So you tell yourself, or maybe somebody tells you, that's a $400 spread. I don't want to pay more to buy than I do to rent. And some people might even say on the interwebs, you go out there and you invest that $400 spread over time, and you're going to become a multimillionaire. Not exactly how it works. I want to look at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. As a home buyer, you should be looking into the future. What happens to rent over time? I had my friend ChatGPT. I said, hey, plug in a $2,800 rent and tell me in 5, 10, and 20 years with average rental appreciation what my rent's going to look like in 5 years. $3,245. What's it going to look like in 10 years? $3,757. What's it going to look like 20 years down the road to rent this same house that I'm renting today for $2,800? You know what my buddy Chat told me? $5,000 a month based on average rental appreciation. It's stuff that's, the data is the data. I'm just the one who's bringing it to you. So let's look at that same home. And just to be fair, you know what I did? In a lot of places like California, where your taxes remain really, really flat, and quite honestly, from 2025 and on, we might see some homeowners insurance increases, but not a ton. You're going to have, because your principal and interest portion of this is going to stay exactly the same. You got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and quite honestly, you might refinance in the future and lower that payment. That's more likely than any of this. But let's just say it trickles up, and you got an extra $300 in that escrow account because your taxes and or insurance went up. Okay, you're still at $3,500 versus $5,057. Now, that's enticing to look up in 20 years and have a housing payment that's 30% less. That's $3,500 versus $5,000, even though you had to start a little bit behind. But the true magic of home ownership, and this is why homeowners have a net worth of 45 times that of renters, is because over time, the appreciation. I did this, and again, I referenced our friend ChatGPT, and I said, plug in a $400,000 purchase and a 7% interest rate, and tell me, based on average appreciation and the debt pay down of that 7% mortgage, how much equity I'm going to have. If you don't know what equity is, it's the value of the home versus what you owe. What you owe goes down, value goes up. I know it doesn't always go up. It's not a straight line, but it goes up over a long enough time horizon. $129,000 in equity in 5 years, $266,000 in equity after 10 years, $658,000 in equity. Imagine you let this $400 spread talk you out of owning a home that in 20 short years, and I'm telling you at 44 years old, 20 years used to feel like a long time, it flies by. You're in a house where your payment, which by the way, you've only got 10 years left to pay, and then most of it's gone because the principal interest is wiped away, is $1,500 less than it would be to rent that same house. And oh, by the way, you've got $658,000 in equity. You probably owe $150,000. And this would mean it was worth about $800,000, right? And so you got an $800,000 property worth, with a balance of $150,000, you can sell it, move to Tennessee. You can, there's a lot of different things you can do. You have equity, which is net worth. So that's why when you look at buy versus rent, don't just look at one data point. This is what people do. One data point, it's cheaper to rent, I'll do that. The easier thing is hardly ever the best thing in the long term. That's all I've got. Hope it helps.